Hey y'all. Okay, so I have finally completed my currently inked. It is 1/17/2024. So January 17th, 2024. And I started doing it on the 15th. Today is Wednesday. The 15th. I started doing it then. I had gotten this great idea. If I didn't show you all, I showed you all, but in case you all hadn't seen that video, I got this great idea that what I was gonna do was, and I haven't completely set this up yet, but I started the process. I have several different types of paper: Graphilo, Usari, Cosmo, Nimosine. I'm not for sure exactly how you say that paper name. The bank paper, Aerofoil, Kukuyo. Kukuyo, I think the one that is the paper that is very similar to Tomoe River with the Jabun Techo is made from, is with this. The Stalogy, Tomoe River, Midori MD, Clairefontaine, Rhodia, and this one, Corona View Light, which I know a lot of people don't talk about this one, but I think it's a very good paper. It's very, very, very similar to Tomoe River. And then Onion Skin. So I have all of these papers, and I said when I did my currently inked, I would actually do it on each one of these papers and see the difference between the two papers, y'all. Oh, and then my pen and gear regular notebook paper. That's what I've been using. So I did that, but it took me 3 days to get through it all. I didn't realize how much that was going to be. So this is going to be my last month doing it like this. Next month, what I'm going to try and do is do a regular currently inked as here. This is my currently inked. And then throughout that month, write an excerpt of something, whether it be Bible study, professional development book that I'm reading, you know, notes on, something like that. Write with each one of these pens throughout the month, and then come back and show you all the sample of that, and let you know what I didn't like about it, what I did like about it, etc. Because this did not work for me. It was way too long, and yeah. But I went on ahead because I had started it, so I did it, completed it. Last month I had all of these pens inked except for this one. This one, well, I did actually ink it last month, so actually just this one. I added the Poppy. I added this one last month, and I added this one, which is inked with something new now than what it started out with. So this Jinhao 82, it was originally inked with the J. Herbin Rouge Granate. It was way, way, way too dry. So I switched it out and made it, and it put the Diamond Syrah in it. And it actually writes a whole lot better now. Now, what I do know is that the line width is just too thin for me. So I'm not really liking that too much. But I did buy some replacement nibs and went up to a medium for my Jinhao 82. I haven't replaced them yet, any of them yet. So I will see how those write probably in the upcoming months. Right now, I do want to get rid of some of these that are inked. So let's go ahead and look at all of them that are inked. This one right here, and I can think, well, let's see. I actually wrote it twice. For some reason, when you first start writing on some of them, I think it's something with how long it's been sitting in the pen. It'll come out darker than what it is, and then as you continue to write, it'll lighten up some. So this is actually the same pen. This is at the beginning when I first started writing. This is at the end after I wrote through all of these. So you can see that there is a difference. On this one, I wrote it twice because I felt like it was darker, but when I wrote it here again, it still came out maybe a hair bit lighter. So I wrote it twice just so I can see if I can get the color, because I felt like the color on some of these papers actually showed up a lot better on these than it did here. Felt like they were too dark. Now, this one, this J. Herbin Rouge Granate, and I hate y'all can't see that. Let's see. I hate that y'all can't see that. This ink shaded on every single paper that I put it on, including this one. There is some nice shading. I don't know if y'all can see that the way the light is in here. I let the light the dark catch me, so I wasn't able to do the video before night hit. But nonetheless, I wanted to go ahead and do the video anyway so that I could put it up and be done with my currently inked for this month. For the pens that I emptied last month, I did empty this one. It was inked with I think Diamine Syrah as well. I emptied this one. I emptied this was J. Herbin as well. I actually put that in here to see if I had that same dry experience as I did with the Jinhao 82, and I did not. So this is a medium nib. I will keep it at a medium nib so that I can actually use it on those drier inks. There was one other ink that I discovered was dry today as I was writing with it, and I'll let y'all know about that one when I get there. I also emptied this Jinhao X159. It was inked with Nootler's Texas Black Bat. And then I emptied this Jinhao 992, I believe it is, clear barrel, and it was inked with Diamond Blue Black. I love the Diamond Blue Black. It is such a very pretty color. I also like their Diamond 1854 Blue Black, another pretty color. Both of them are very, very pretty. So those are the pens that I did ink. One that I added to the mix was this one. It is a Jinhao 619C, and it is purple. I wanted a purple pen. I got this off of Temu. It was a few dollars, maybe $1.98. I don't know. It was under $5. I can't remember the price of it exactly. Oh my gosh. I thought I wasn't going to like it. To me, the converter is loose, but it writes so well. Now, I put it with purple ink. I don't like purple ink too much. I have discovered that over the years, but I have a whole lot of purple ink, so I went ahead and put purple ink in there. The writing experience is lovely. However, I don't like the ink. That's okay though. I now have a purple pen with purple ink. So that is one of the pens that I did add to the mix. And then the excuse me, y'all, red shark pen. When I took the J. Herbin out of here, I added it to this pen. Oh no, wait a minute, hold on. Did I add it to this pen or did I add it to this one? Let me see. Yes. So I added the Rouge Granat that was in this pen to this one. Wrote beautifully. And then I had Diamine Syrah in this one. And I put Diamine Syrah in this one. So I had 2 pens with Diamine Syrah. There is 1 pen that I did not include, and that's because it's basically out. And I only use it for headers, which was my Twisbi stub nib 1.1, and it's basically out of ink, but it has the red dragon. So the red dragon and the Syrah are very similar in color to me. So anyway, let's go ahead and look at these colors. First pen is my pen BBS 226. It's the red koi. That's this pen here, and it is inked with the J. Herbin Rouge Granat, and it actually writes really well in this pen. Like I said, I have lots of shading in this ink. In every single sample here, there is lots of shading with that ink. The next one is the Kaweco Sport Iridescent Pearl. That is this one here. It is inked with the Kaweco blue cartridge that came with the pen, and it writes lovely. It is a finer nib, but it writes really good. I do get a little bit of feathering with this one sometimes, so that's something that I don't know if it's the ink or the paper or what, but I do get feathering with it sometimes. The next one is my Jinhao 992 Transparent Orange, and that one is inked with the Diamond Ancient Copper. Now, what I noticed is, for some reason, I did not get a lot of shading on this one, but perhaps I wasn't supposed to because of the type of the paper it is. But I expected just as much shading as I got on this Rouge Granat. I actually expected it from the Ancient Copper, and I did not get that. The next one is my Young Sheen. I call it a champagne colored nib, fine nib. That one is inked with Noodler's Gold and Limonite. And I did get some shading with this one. I got more shading with this one than I did with the Ancient Copper. So I know there is another Noodler's ink that has quite a bit of shading. Well, 2. The turquoise and the what you call it? The Apache Sunset, Southwest Sunset. Is that it? Those I get a lot of shading with those. So I'm gonna have to look at Noodler's inks because I actually prefer shading inks over any other inks. The next one I have is Young Sheen 3024 Blue Barrel, and it's a fine nib. All of them are fine nibs of the Young Sheen, and it is inked with the Private Reserve American Blue. Now here on that Private Reserve American Blue, I'm almost out of the ink on that one, so I'll be glad when that one is empty. And what I get on this one, this is a beautiful color blue. It has some red sheen on it, and you can see some of that red sheen on this pen and gear notebook paper. So I think that is fabulous. Next one is my Young Sheen, again, the Green Barrel fine nib, and it has the Dominant Industry Leaf Green. And I don't know if you can see how that sticks to the sides of the wall, but it looks kind of oily like for this one and for this Private Reserve one. Looks kind of oily like. Next one is our Jinhao 82 Cream Body. I'm going to bring that one up to you all a little bit closer, but this is it. It's performing well with that ink. However, I do want to put another ink in there, a wetter ink. I know everybody says the writer's blood is very wet, so I want to try that in there. But it does write, and it's writing consistently, no fade outs or anything like that. It's just a very thin line, and I'm not too crazy about that. I mean, it could, of course, have its place, a right place for the right time. So, you know, for such a thin line, I'm just not a fan of thin lines in regular writing pens either. Next one, this is the Franklin Christoph, and I just call it the magenta pen. I can't remember the number on it. Let me see if I see it. 03? Looks like 03. So this one, again, to me, sometimes when you first start writing with the somewhat, I'll say, wetter pens, the ink will come out very dark and then it'll mellow out. This is the same pen. This one had been out in a writing session for a while. And then I wrote this, and this is when I first opened it up, and you can see there is a very vast difference between the two. And I do have ink in here, so it's not that the ink is almost out or drying out. It is ink in the cartridge. I've seen that on several of the inks where they're very dark first coming out the nib. Think it have something to do with how long it's been sitting in oxygen and stuff, but I'm not for certain. This one is the Kaweco Sport gray nib, broad, and it's gray pen, and it's a broad nib. That's this one. Now this one I didn't get as much shading as I usually do, as I usually get with this pen. However, I do find that the broad nib in Kaweco is very broad, wet. Like I get a lot of ink on the page for such a little pen, and I'm kind of surprised about that. I did get some shading, but not in all samples. And then the Jinhao 619C, which is what I got off of Temu. Again, this looks dead on like a what you call that, Lamy? Yeah, Lamy. But this pen writes really well, and I actually like the way it writes better than the Lamy that I have anyway. Jinhao X750 Starry Night, that is this pen. This pen had a medium nib. I never wrote with it. I took it out and I replaced it with a fine nib. And it writes less wet than the medium nib one, which is what I needed, because on the medium nib one I had a lot of feathering. I do have some feathering still with this one, but very little. My next one is my Twisbi Eco Purple Lilac with the medium nib. That is this one. This is Purple Majesties. This pen has been inked for over a year, close to a year and a half now. So, and it's still going strong. I've never had experienced any hard stops with it. And you can see I still have quite a bit of ink. So, and I had this one filled to the brim. My next one is with the Twisbi Eco Pastel Pink with an extra fine nib, and it's a Private Reserve Rose Rage. And I can tell you, I'm not mad at their extra fine nibs. I said that if I have to get one, I would if they didn't have a fine. But now I think I am going to seek out some Twisbi fine nibs. Simply because if you need something finer than a fine, this one actually writes and gives me the experience of not writing with a too fine, extra scratchy nib, which is what I usually experience with fine nibs. Even with this Jinhao, it's almost scratchy to me. So, and I know it's a dry pen, but the ink that I had in it initially was dry. This one, I would not consider this a dry ink. However, it's dry in this pen. So, my next one is the Twisbi Eco in Saffron, Eco Tea in Saffron. And it is inked with the Twisbi, with the KWZ Old Gold. The next one is the Twisbi Eco T Rosa Fine Nib, which is this one. It is ink with Diamond Poppy. And I did not ink this one all the way up. I inked it up in December for the holidays for red. Now, I can say I got some feathering on this and several other of the writing samples with the Twisbi Eco Rosa. Then I have this pen, which is the Twisbi Eco Creme with a fine nib, and it's inked with Ferris Wheel Press Steeped Umber. To me, I got some skipping with this pen, and I can tell you that's the first time I ever had any skipping with Twisbis. However, maybe it was the ink, because this is the ink that actually feels dry to me. So I don't know if it had dried out a little bit here before I had started writing with it. This one is my Jinhao Red Shark pen. It's a fine nib and it's inked with Diamond Sarah. And I put this one in here so that I could compare this Jinhao 82. I wanted to see if this was perhaps a dry ink, and I just didn't know it. And definitely not. This is a fine nib. This is Jinhao Diamond Sarah. Definitely not dry here. Is still dry here, so it is the pen for certain. And that is it, y'all. So I am through. Did I miss one? I did. My Twisbi Swipe. This is my Twisbi Swipe. And it is a fine nib. It is inked with Diamond 1854 Blue Black. And I had a lot of feathering on that one as well. Beautiful color. This pen, oh my God, it writes so well. I do get some feathering sometimes, but only when you seem to first start writing, and then after that it mellows out. But I just want to show y'all a little bit on how they look on the, see, and you still can't see that shading on this pen BBS. This is Graphilo paper, and I have some more papers. Here we go. Because I was like, I have more. Because I ended up running out of space. So this is the Graphilo paper here. And you see I got a nice shading on the Yangqing. Not as much on that Ancient Copper that I expected to get. And then I got nice shading on that J. Herbin Rouge Granate. And I got some nice shading on the Kaweco Sport Waterman Inspired Blue, which I did not get on the other paper, and I thought I had got it on there before. This is other ones. I got nice shading on the Noodler's Purple Mountain Majesties. So that's why I'm saying I think I need to check out the Noodler's, because there's several of them that I've had great experience with as far as shading. And then this one right here is the Creme. It seems to have corrected itself. Nice smooth writing here. And I did get some shading on the KWZ Old Gold. Most of the inks that I wrote with, I found that they were flat. They were one-dimensional across the board on most of the inks that I have inked this month. And I didn't realize that until looking at them across all the papers, that they were basically one-dimensional. Again, this is the Graphilo paper. Here's the Zuyasari paper. And again, I got nice shading every single time with that J. Herbin Rouge Granate across every single paper that I wrote with. I think I got shading. I'll let y'all know if I didn't, but I'm pretty sure I did. This Golden Limonite, I got nice shading on that one. And I got a little bit of shading on the Waterman Inspired Blue. And then here, not as much shading on that Purple Mountain Majesties by by Noodler's. and none on the old gold. Well, virtually none on the old gold, which I did get on the graffito paper. This one is the Cosmo Airlight. I can tell you there were quite a few colors that I actually really liked on this paper. I actually liked the feel of the paper when I wrote with it. This pen BBS, plenty of shading on it. I wish y'all could see that. Oh man, I wish y'all could see that. And then on this, now on this one, the Ancient Copper, lots of shading on this one, as well as this Golden Limonite from Noodlers. And then this is it again. Some shading on the old gold and very little on the Purple Mountain Majesties. Those are basically the ones that I had shading with. And then on this one, this is the Diamond Syrah for the Jinha Red Shark, and I actually did get shading here, but I didn't get that on the other papers. This is the bank paper. Again, that shading. A little bit of shading on the Ancient Copper, more shading on the Noodler's Golden Limonite. Tiny bit of shading on that Inspired Blue. And tiny bit here on the Diamond Syrah, as well as the Purple Mountain Majesties. So that's all I'm going to say on those. Not too much shading. That's the bank paper. On the Nimosine paper, I continue to have the shading there. I did get Ancient Copper with some shading, as well as the Golden Limonite. Purple Mountain Majesties, I got quite a bit of shading, and that is what I'm going to call it. This is the Irofool paper. Stupendous amount of shading on this J. Herbin Rouge Granate, as well as the Diamond Ancient Copper and the Gold Limonite. So Irofool paper, thumbs up to that. That one, I haven't used that paper a lot, so I can really see the shading in those. I can also see it here in the Inspired Blue and in the Purple Mountain Majesties, but not as much as I can see it on the Golden Limonite, the Ancient Copper, and the J. Herbin. Fabulous. And then this is the other, and we do have, I'm not going to count that as shading. Yep. I did get it here, though, in the Diamond Red Shark. It's Syrah, Diamond Syrah. In the Jinha Red Shark, I'm sorry, find it. I did get it there. Nice. And it was pretty heavy. This is the Kikuyo paper. Everything's pretty flat. I got a little bit of shading in that one that I said I got shading across all the papers. Pretty flat. And a little bit of shading in the Diamond Syrah here. This one is Nostalgia paper. And I did get some shading. Now, I guess Nostalgia doesn't show off the properties of the inks as much as other specialty papers. Yeah, here. I'm not going to count that. Nope. And nope. So that's the only one I got some shading out of, was the J. Herbin Rouge Granate on Nostalgia paper. This one is the Tomoe River. Lots on the Rouge Granate. Some on the Ancient Copper. Some on the Yingshu. Nothing like that was for these two on the Irofool paper. That one tops it all. Little bit of shading on the Purple Mountain Majesties. Not as much here on the Kaweko. The Inspired Blue. And then on this one, I'm going to say a no. Tiny bit. Okay, y'all. And then this is the Midori paper. I guess I should have been going with you all as far as the back. Look at that, Midori. The ones that I did have some bleed through on, I'll go back and let y'all know. But this is Midori, no bleed through. I had a tiny bit on the Tamari River, which was with this private reserve. And then the Kaweco here, I had quite a bit of little spots on different pens, on different ones I had bleed through. The Stalogy paper, I had bleed through on that Kaweco blue cartridge, as well as the Twisbi Eco. Yep, Twisbi Eco Purple Mountain Majesties. This is the Kikuyo paper. I didn't have any bleed through on that. No bleed through on the Irreful paper. No, little bit of bleed through here on the Nimosine. Well, actually that's not bleed through. That's just a lot of heavy shadowing on that bottom one. Sorry, y'all. I should have done that at first. No bleed through. No bleed through. No bleed through on any of the others. Okay, so not bad then. So now this is the Clairefontaine. I know that they say that these papers, this one and the Rhodia, is the same. I did, however, find that in some of them, the pens felt differently. The ink felt differently depending on which, and some of them felt opposite, you know. One felt better on another one than the other one, and vice versa for other inks. So this one again, that shading was across every single pen. Now this one is that Diamond Delamere, and I felt like this was the green that you are looking for, that it's supposed to be, but it came out a little dark with the first writing, and it settled down. Okay, that's it for that one. And then this is the Rhodia here. I got a little bit of shading on the Kaweco inspired blue. And no bleed through. No bleed through. I did get a little bit of feathering again on that blue black. This is Corona View. I think it's called Corona View Light, but I'm thinking about Cosmo Air Light. So I think it's just called Corona View or View Corona paper. I might have it backwards. But it's super thin, just like Tamari River paper. It may be 52 GSM as well. No problems. Not as much pronounced shading as you get on some of the other papers, but you do get some. And then no bleed through. That Kaweco again, that's the one that was closest to bleeding through. I don't know what it is with that ink, and no bleed through on this one. That's the other page. And lastly is my onion skin. So this is my onion skin. Feathering on that Kaweco, which I did get that quite a bit. I got it some here on this Delamere, but that's when I had to kind of push the ink up because I'm running out of the ink on this one. I did get some feathering here on this one, so I got it feathering quite a bit. But this is some strong little paper, y'all. I had bleed through here. The rest of them is just near bleed throughs. You can just see through the paper really well. And then here is the other piece of it. And again, you got that feathering with that diamond blue black. Now, the Purple Mountain Majesties actually did not feather on this one, so that's actually pretty good. It feathers quite a bit and no bleed through. So that is it, y'all. That is it. That is my long video of all of these ink swatches. So yeah, I didn't do this, ink writing samples with you. I didn't do them on camera with you all. I know y'all would probably be glad that I didn't, because it was so much. But I will not be doing it like this next month. I will be thinking of another way to do it, which, like I said, I think I'm just gonna write some, you know, like when I'm taking notes and stuff, and use those as sample writings, because this was way too much. I will maybe still use that paper that I've already punched and stuff. If not, I'll use it for something else and just go to a book. But I did want you all to see the different types of paper and how things looked on different papers. Next month, maybe I'll talk about the thickness of the papers, and see if that will help you all as far as what you all are looking for. I know some people don't like the little really thin paper. I do, but some people may not. They may prefer thicker paper, and I'll let y'all know which ones are thicker, and if I can find the GSM or pound, I'll let you all know that potentially on my next video. I'm not going to say I will. I potentially will. Alright, that is it, y'all. Y'all have a good one. Hope you all are enjoying this new year. We are halfway through the first month of the new year. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.